Hello, my name is Linda McKee. I'm the Solution Manager for SAP's Global Trade Services solution. Today I'll be discussing how our Global Trade Services, or I'll just shorten that to GTS, can help your business as we try to work our way through some very challenging and turbulent times. We see global trade organizations today exist in a variety of organizational structures. They may sit in finance, in compliance, in supply chain, or across all of those organizations. But wherever global trade resides in your organization, the managers need an agile approach to support what may be a newly remote workforce. A key focus is minimizing supply chain disruption while still maintaining business compliance. In talking with many of our customers, common trends have been identified relative to challenges many of you are facing relative to your global trade activities. You've been looking for more supply chain agility. Additional pressure is being placed on so many companies to consider new sourcing strategies and be able to deal with any changes made to your supply chain activity. Being able to look at the impact any of that new sourcing may have. So really having visibility and transparency to the impact of some of those new changes. What kind of risk is your business facing when you are reaching out and starting to work with partners that you may never have worked with before, especially if they're in new countries or regions of the world where you may not have had much of a presence? Also understanding the overall impact on your profitability. Changes to sourcing will very likely mean changes on tariffs and duties that you'll be paying. If you're shifting your sourcing from what were previously factories in China and bringing it into Mexico, what is that going to look like and how is that going to impact your overall costs and profitability? And then there's always the new trade requirements. There could be additional complexity as you change sources or move to new parts of the world. So you need to assure not only that you're able to support the operations, but that the compliance concerns can be addressed and that you know what is necessary to do business in some of those new markets. So what are some of the areas you can look at within your business to help increase its flexibility, to help increase the agility of your global trade organization? One area to start with is communication processes. Are you fully leveraging digital communication capabilities and doing so in real time across all of the multiple partners associated with your global trade activities? Do you have full visibility and transparency to the financial impact your operations may be having on the business, including things such as duties and tariffs and fees? Do you have accuracy and completeness in your data to help avoid delays? There's nothing worse than having an order sitting on your dock ready to go and it can't be moved because you're missing key documents. Can you automate as many processes as possible and improve the speed and consistency of those activities? This also allows your global trade experts to focus on those areas and issues that really require their knowledge and skills. Are you able to proactively identify where there may be non-compliance issues and really avoid disruption and penalties that can be associated with non-compliance? Also requiring consideration is understanding the impact that global trade processes have across virtually all of your business. A lot of people think only of the supply chain and the logistics activities, of physically moving those goods across borders. But there also should be consideration given to what's the impact on sales. You're having to screen customers and check for any embargoes. You want to be sure that that can be done seamlessly and without disrupting those sales activities. You need to consider the sourcing and procurement activities. If they choose to select a new supplier or resource a strategic component, there needs to be an understanding of how that may impact global trade operations, and there needs to be assurance that as those changes are made, global trade is taken into consideration. We've already touched on the importance of compliance. Obviously, as you're working in different countries around the world, there are a lot of regulations that have to be taken into consideration. So you need to be sure that you can effectively support those compliance requirements in your global trade platform. Within manufacturing, there may be opportunities to minimize the costs of the goods that are assembled or manufactured by taking advantage of special customs procedures. And in finance, obviously there's impacts to the bottom line. As you're paying duties and fees around the world, you need to understand and have visibility to what those impacts are. So now we'll take a slightly closer look at some of the specific functional areas within GTS. One heavily utilized is our restricted party screening. So I had mentioned that you do need to screen all of your business partners, whether customers, suppliers, etc., against these government-issued restricted or denied party lists. You need to assure that that can be done consistently, especially as things like your supplier landscape could be changing and evolving. You need to assure that you can consistently check against those new business partners. Being able to do it in a real-time basis as opposed to waiting for overnight batch. So you immediately know as orders are created whether or not there may not be an issue with a specific business partner. And you also need scalability. Often very high volumes of business partners, high volumes of transactions. So GTS can certainly deliver a very scalable global platform. Now taking a look at export and import management. Obviously, compliance is a key part of these processes. Had mentioned all of the regulations associated with cross-border movements. The classification of products, sometimes may not considered it as critical, but it absolutely is, because how you classify those products impacts how you report them to the government, impacts how and how much you pay in duties and tariffs. Communication with customs. Key part of this process, you can't leave or bring goods into the country without effectively completing that process. So very critical factor. So overall, some of the key benefits you want to derive from these activities in GTS is that automation. Really reduce that manual effort, let as many orders as possible flow through on their own without touch through the system so that your resources can really focus when there are issues that require that intervention. Another key part is again streamlining this digital communications with customs wherever possible. If you're doing self-filing, GTS can support that, or we can also support that kind of communication with your brokers. Again, anything being handled electronically can speed up the process and reduce the errors. And then also that determination of duties and fees owed and providing that visibility back into the business, especially those financial areas that are very concerned about the impact those fees and duties can have on the bottom line. The Trade Preference module within GTS allows you to take advantage of free trade agreements around the world. It can automate the complex process of qualifying your products under the rules of those various agreements, and can also assist you in managing the interaction you need to have with your suppliers to receive their product qualifications, as well as issuing certificates to your customers telling them that your product qualifies and they may be eligible for reduced duties. Another group of processes within GTS we've organized under the Special Customs Procedures area. Many of these are focused on reducing the duties and fees you pay associated with your global trade operations. Also, because it is a global platform, we've also provided country-specific capabilities, such as processing trade in China. In addition, we support the Interstat, or the statistical reporting requirements found in Europe that are required for your order-to-cash and procure-to-pay activities. Effective reporting and monitoring capabilities are key to successful global trade operations. You need to make that global trade data available to all of your key decision makers as they're looking forward in developing your corporate strategies. You need to be able to simulate the impact changes in trade policies can have. If tariffs are increased or reduced in certain parts of the world, what is the impact on your business going forward? You also often need to gain control and visibility to that global trade data in what can often be a heterogeneous global operation landscape. So with GTS serving as your global trade platform, all of that reporting and monitoring capability is made available to your business. So how can you deploy SAP Global Trade Services in such a way that you're delivering value to the business as soon as possible? What we've seen across our thousands of customers is that many of them do start with screening. That can be a much quicker and more focused implementation in many cases. Then they'll often move into the area of exports, followed by imports. And then ultimately, they'll look at opportunities for duty reduction by taking advantage of free trade agreements or those special customs procedures. Any way you look at it, SAP Global Trade Services is a rich, robust, and market-leading global trade management solution. We hope you'll consider it for your business and make yours a truly agile global trade organization. Thank you.